Rasheeda is mad at the wrong person. The reason why we haven't been able to have a conversation is because you've held me accountable and not him. So I'm confused. Like, what are you so confused about?
Oh, okay. So she said telling the truth on you. So what's the truth?
What would be your truth? Because my truth is I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you don't.
Whatever your truth would be, what is it? Like?
Of course you don't. Because you why would you tell that truth? So the truth is that
Rasheeda's life had just been turned upside down, and the weight of it all was almost too much for her to bear. The shocking leak of Kirk's old sex tapes by Karlie Redd had ignited a firestorm of attention, and Rasheeda found herself right in the center of it. The moment the news broke, social media exploded, with people reacting in all kinds of ways. Some defended her, while others seemed to take pleasure in the drama unfolding before their eyes. Meanwhile, a few cruel voices mocked her pain, adding salt to the wound. It felt like everything was collapsing around her, and she was struggling to keep her head above the chaos. Rasheeda sat on the edge of her bed, her phone buzzing nonstop with notifications. Each ping was a reminder of the madness unfolding outside her door. Tears streamed down her face as she tried to process the betrayal. It wasn't just about the tapes, it was about the complete violation of trust. These were intimate moments that should have stayed private, but now they were being paraded for the world to see. And worst of all, she had no control over it. As the world watched her heartbreak unfold, it felt like an unbearable weight she couldn't escape. "What kind of friend would do this?" Rasheeda cried out, her voice thick with emotion. It wasn't just a rhetorical question. It was a desperate cry for some kind of understanding, some explanation that would make sense of it all. Friends and family rushed to her side, trying their best to comfort her. But the pain was so deep that it felt almost impossible to put into words. It was overwhelming, and no amount of reassurance seemed to help. "I fought for you," Rasheeda whispered, her heart heavy with hurt. She had stood by Kirk through thick and thin, defending him against critics, rumors, and everything else that had come their way. How could he have let this happen? The violation stung more than she had anticipated. The tapes weren't just old footage, they were painful reminders of a time when they had shared their most intimate moments. Now those private moments were being used for gossip and ridicule, stripping away her dignity and her sense of security. It wasn't just Kirk who had betrayed her, it was Karlie too, someone Rasheeda had considered a friend. As Rasheeda sat there, tears flowing freely, her emotions were in turmoil. She felt trapped in a cycle of loyalty and betrayal, caught between the love she still had for Kirk and the need to protect herself from further humiliation. How could she face the world after this? The betrayal was too much to handle, and it felt like her whole world was crashing down around her. "I can't believe this is happening," she muttered to herself, feeling suffocated by the weight of it all. She felt as if she was losing control over her own life. Despite the pain, Rasheeda wasn't entirely alone. Her friends surrounded her, offering words of comfort and encouragement. "You're stronger than this," they urged, trying to lift her spirits. But their words didn't seem to penetrate the despair she was feeling. Rasheeda felt lost, questioning everything. Could she ever forgive Kirk for this? Was this the final straw in their relationship? The doubts kept gnawing at her, making it hard to breathe. The thought of a future without Kirk was terrifying, but it also felt like a possibility she couldn't ignore. "Kirk," she began, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and disbelief. "I need the truth. I've been hearing things about you and my mom." Kirk's face turned pale, and for a moment he seemed genuinely confused. "What are you talking about, Rasheeda?" "You know I'd never. Don't lie to me," she interjected, her anger boiling over. "You can't keep denying this. I have proof. How could you do this to me, to us?" Her voice cracked with emotion, and the weight of the situation hung heavily in the air. This was the confrontation she never thought she'd have to face. But in that moment, Rasheeda knew it was time to get the truth and to decide what kind of future she wanted for herself. Kirk was clearly unprepared for the confrontation, his words stumbling out in a way that showed he didn't know how to handle the situation. "It's not what you think, your mom and I," he tried to explain, but Rasheeda wasn't having it. She shot back, her voice full of disbelief. "Not what you think? You were supposed to be my partner, my confidant, and now you're sneaking around with my mother? How could you do this to me?" The air in the room felt thick, like it was about to explode. Rasheeda crossed her arms, staring at him, waiting for him to explain himself. But Kirk was silent, his eyes darting around the room as if hoping he could find a way out of the mess he had created. "Look, I made a mistake," he said finally, his voice shifting from defensive to pleading. "It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything." Rasheeda's voice was full of shock. "Do you really think that makes it better? This isn't just some fling. It's my mother." It's not just a betrayal of our marriage, it's a betrayal of my family. Kirk took a step closer to her, desperation clear on his face. Rasheeda, please, he said, his voice shaking. I can fix this. We can fix this. Just give me a chance to explain. Explain what? What is there to explain? Rasheeda's voice was trembling, not from fear, but from the deep pain she was feeling. You chose her over me. You crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. The silence in the room was suffocating. Rasheeda fought hard to keep the tears from falling. She wouldn't let him see her break. She was stronger than that. Her mind raced, remembering the love they once shared, now ruined by his betrayal. Your actions have consequences, Kirk, she said, her voice firm, though her heart was breaking inside. I deserve better than this. I deserve loyalty, respect especially from my husband. You've destroyed my trust in a way I didn't think was possible. Kirk's eyes were filled with regret, but the words didn't come easily. I never wanted to hurt you, he said quietly. It just happened. I was weak, and I didn't think. Didn't think? Rasheeda scoffed, bitterness in her tone. That's your excuse? You're a grown man. You should have known better. This isn't just a mistake, it's a choice. You chose to betray me in the worst possible way. She turned away from him, needing space to breathe, to process everything that was happening. Her heart was a whirlwind of emotions, but she had to stay strong. I can't even look at you right now, she whispered, her voice breaking. You've crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. As she reached for the door, Kirk reached out, grabbing her wrist. Rasheeda, please, don't walk away, he said urgently. I love you. His words hung in the air, but Rasheeda felt a rush of emotions crashing over her. Love didn't betray. Love didn't tear families apart. Love, she repeated, barely able to believe what he was saying. What you did is the opposite of love. How can I ever trust you again? Her eyes were full of tears as she pulled her arm away from him, her heart heavy with pain but resolute in her decision. I need time to think, she said quietly. You've shattered everything we built together. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way you. As she stepped into the cold night air, it hit her like a wave, grounding her amidst the chaos inside her. She felt both lost and free at the same time. Behind her, Kirk stood alone, grappling with the consequences of his choices, realizing that he might have just lost the love of his life forever. This particular scene became legendary for its drama, especially when Kirk denied being the father of Rasheeda's child during a pivotal moment in their lives. The DNA test he took in Season 3 only made things worse, shaking their relationship to its core. Their rocky marriage also caused major clashes with Rasheeda's mother, Charlene, who once even ran over Kirk's motorbike in a heated confrontation. Despite all the drama, Rasheeda had always tried to hold things together, but now it looked like she had finally reached her breaking point. For so long, she had played second fiddle to Kirk's lies, but now she was ready to move on from the chaos and put herself first. Meanwhile, Kirk was still trying to make sense of everything. Nothing, he shook his head, his voice full of frustration. Absolutely nothing. It's like she vanished with the money and I'm left trying to figure out what happened. Now people are saying I'm hiding assets, but the truth is, I'm the one who's been wronged. Jessica, a friend who had been listening intently, looked at him with sympathy. What are you doing to address these accusations and get your assets back? Kirk's expression changed to one of determination. I've already started legal proceedings. It's going to be tough, but I'm committed to getting what's mine. This isn't just about money. It's about clearing my name and showing the truth. I want people to know I'm not just sitting back doing nothing. I'm fighting for what's right. Jessica nodded, understanding the pressure he was under. This is a high-profile case, though. How are you dealing with the public scrutiny and the impact on your reputation? Kirk took a deep breath, his eyes reflecting both determination and exhaustion. The public pressure is heavy and it's been tough. But I have to stay focused. It's not just about my reputation anymore. It's about justice and making sure the truth comes out. Jessica gave a thoughtful nod. And what message do you want to send to your supporters during this time? Kirk's voice softened, though it remained firm. I'm deeply grateful for the support I've received. I'm doing everything I can to fix this, and I won't stop fighting.